I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to do a show. And I asked Cam, I booked the place, and I was like, for the show, and I was like, hey, Cam, I want to do a show here, man. And he's like, oh, cool, what kind of music you going to do? And I was like, oh, I don't sing, man. He's like, well, so like what? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking like a spoken word type thing. He's like, oh, so what are you going to do, stand up? And I'm like, well, I'll probably sit down for most of it. But this is what it turned into. 9/11. Do
segue.
Who remembers where they were on 9/11? Most of you probably do. I was in basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I was 17 years old. We were out at a training exercise. It was the 7th week of the 9-week basic training, so we were getting ready for our final tests and things, and we were out learning how to use, rocket launchers and claymore mines and stuff. And one of the drill sergeants came out in his pickup truck, and he turns it on, and they're talking about the towers falling in Manhattan, and while we're listening to it, we actually heard when they were announcing the plane hitting the second tower, and I didn't believe them. I didn't at the time, because in the 2nd week of basic training, they played this, I want to say prank, but prank's not the right word, because pranks are supposed to be fun. But they told us that we were going to war, and that a certain few people that had certain jobs, one of those jobs was drivers, were leaving immediately to this country. I don't even remember what country it was now. It's a country we've never been at war with. And they showed us these very convincing overhead slides, because it was 2001, of this country and like why we're going to war with them and things like that. And then they made us go back to our barracks room and pack everything that we had as fast as we could. And I'm scared. I'm scared. Going to war, 17. And we're down on the, waiting for the buses to come pick us up, and then they're like, and then we go back in and we get they brief us, and it's basically an exercise on being combat ready and being deployable as fast as possible. So when 9/11 happened, I thought it was, I thought they were messing with us, until we went to the dining facility for lunch, and we go in there, and for the first time ever, I saw TV during basic training, and it was on TV. And I thought, well, maybe it's just an elaborate hoax they're still playing on us. And then they had us call home, starting with the people that lived in D.C. and New York. That's what I knew. And so that was the day I knew I'd go to war. And oddly, I never went to Afghanistan, which is the war that was attached to the 9/11 bombings. So I got sad. In the title, I do describe myself as trailer trash. I don't actually think I'm trash. However, I have dealt with the stereotype most of my life. I did go to an Ivy League institution. As you can see my degree here, I went to Columbia in New York, which is a wonderful place. But I took, actually, I need a story before the story, so we'll lead into it. When I first got into Columbia, people asked, and I went to West Piedmont, and I got in, and people were like, oh, are you transferring to college? I was like, yeah, I'm going to Columbia. South Carolina? Got that a lot. But my personal favorite is, you speak Spanish. Pero sí, yo puedo hablar un poquito porque estudié español hace 4 semestres en la Universidad de Columbia. But my first semester there, I was taking Spanish. And we were supposed to do this presentation in elementary Spanish about our parents' house, apartment, home, what have you. And I raised my hand in all earnestness, and I was like, ¿Cómo se dice trailer in español? And the professor was like, she was confused, and I was like, mobile home? And she's like, she said to me, that's weird. It's a caravana, by the way. But I've lived in trailers most of my life, actually. I live in one currently. And I'm not talking modular home or double wide, this fancy trailer crap. I'm talking like when a cat walks across the roof, it's like being inside of a beer. Curtis knows what I'm talking about.
How's it like when it storms, man?
Okay. So in the military, though, I did use a lot of weapons. I've trained with a lot of different, rifles and 50 cal machine guns and grenade launchers and things. And the weapon that I'm the best with is a 203 grenade launcher. Anybody know what that is? I know there's got some people over here that do. Yeah, it's an under-mounted grenade launcher for a rifle, like M16s, M4s, things like that. And we went to a range once, and I was just naturally good at it. I'd never shot one before, and for qualification purposes, you use paint rounds. So you put these, and the actual thing is like the barrel on it looks like a very large shotgun barrel almost. And you put it's about that big, the grenade that you load up into it, and you load it under, and there's a lot of trajectory and stuff involved with it, so you kind of got to aim up and kind of float it into where you want it. And they gave us 5 of these paint rounds, and what we had to do was, the first round, there was a window. I don't remember how far it was out. I want to say 50 yards is probably too far, I don't remember. But there's a window, and you had to get it within a certain radius of the window, and then further out there was a vehicle, and you had to get it within a certain radius of the vehicle. And then even farther out, there were people in the open. They were like mannequins, dummies, and stuff. And you had to get it within a certain radius. And you get 5 rounds, and you have to hit each target with the 5. And so the first round, I shoot it right through the window. Second round, right on the hood of the truck. Third round, right in the middle of the people. So I got 2 paint rounds left. And I'm sitting there. And my buddy Jimmy is my NCO behind me. And he's like, bet you can't hit the range sign. So between each range, there's these little black and white signs that divide them. They have the number 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're not very big. They're like speed limit sign, maybe probably smaller than that, actually. And they're sitting out there past the first target, not a little past it. And so I was like, okay. And there's just paint orange rounds. So I leaned back and I put it, and it sells just right over it. And I was like, okay, I got 1 more, gotta make it count. And I did, no, I just fire, and I hit it, and I was like, boom, orange paint goes everywhere, it blasts up, and I heard from the tower, thanks. Do it again, and you're off the range. I don't have to do it again. I already did it.